Okay, we'll now discuss the topic about fluid. Well, fluid does not only include liquid, but also gases. However, for purposes of our discussion in physics, we'll focus on liquids. And we'll begin the discussion by citing its characteristics. One is its fluidity. This is the inability of liquid to resist shear. Okay, so as a consequence of its inability to resist shear, there will be flow. All right. So from the figure, we see that if fluid or if force F is applied in a certain liquid, this application of force will cause flow of a liquid. Whereas for a solid, the consequence of the force applied will be a deformation, after which resistance of the solid from deformation. Okay. The next characteristic is its density. From the figure, we see that the same volume will have a different density by the arrangement or compactness of the atoms or molecules of whatever substance is being considered, right? So from the figure, we see that the volume in which the molecules are compact will result to being more dense or being more heavier, right? So density is equal to mass per volume. Another characteristic which is related to density is specific weight. Specific weight is equal to density multiplied by G. Okay, so the unit is Newton per cubic meter in SI units. In the figure, we see two different mediums, water and mercury. Obviously, these two mediums or liquids have different densities. Mercury is 13.6 times heavier than water. Now, we see that a copper cube will be submerged in a liquid water, whereas it floats in a liquid mercury. This is because mercury is heavier than the copper cube, having a density of only 9,000 kilogram per cubic meter compared to the mercury, which is 13,600 kilogram per cubic meter. Okay. Another characteristic is its viscosity, or the resistance to flow of a certain liquid, or how sticky the liquid is. Okay. From observation, it is very much observable that honey being sticky is not susceptible to flow as compared to that of water. Hence, we say honey is more viscous compared to water. Honey is more resistant to flow compared to water. Okay. Now we talk about compressibility. This is the ability to change volume under pressure. We can see an image here comparing liquid and gas. Because of the inherent arrangement or compactness of molecules of liquid and gases, it is quite understandable that that gases are compressible, whereas liquids are incompressible because of the arrangement or compactness of the molecules of these two differing substances. Okay. Now, how about this surface tension? Well, surface tension, as the term implies, is the inherent or natural characteristic of water surface to have a certain degree of tension capacity. All right, we can imagine the liquid surface or the water surface as being a thin layer, a thin membrane, or a thin film capable of supporting or carrying lighter objects, such as the one we are seeing here. It is also this characteristic of liquid surface tension that liquids can sustain a round shape, as can be seen in the right image. Okay, this is due to the cohesive forces between the liquid molecules. Now, capillarity is either the rise or fall of a certain fluid in a narrow tube. This is because of adhesion and cohesion. In the picture, we see water and mercury. The behavior of liquid in these two images, in this image, is contrary to the other. We see that there is a rise of liquid in water in the narrow tube, which is opposite to that of mercury. This can be explained by the greater adhesion of water molecules as compared to, greater adhesion of water molecules to the surface of the tube, okay, as compared to the cohesion of water molecules, okay, contrary to the medium mercury, in which the cohesion between mercury molecules is greater than that of the adhesion of mercury molecules to the surfaces or wall of this narrow tube. This is quite understandable for the reason that mercury is so much heavier than that of the water. Okay. Now, this is a very popular topic or characteristic of liquid, especially in civil engineering. Okay, not just liquid but also structural members. Okay, so pressure is the force per unit area. Mathematically, this can be expressed as P equal to F divided by A. We do take note that force is the perpendicular force acting on a certain given area. So that is pressure, right? So suppose that we have a 100 Newton weight or force acting on areas 0.1 square meters and area 0.01 square meters. By application of the formula for pressure, force divided by area, will yield a result of 1000 pascals and 10,000 pascals to the greater, larger, and smaller area respectively. Okay, so we can clearly see here mathematically the effect of area in pressure. This is also the reason why we have to distribute the vertical load from a building, for example, to the foundation, to the soil, by means of a foundation. That is distributing the column loads to a larger area, to the soil, okay, by means of a foundation. We see that the foundation of a certain building or house has so much larger area as compared to the column. This is for the purpose of lessening the pressure carried by the soil, so that there will be gradual or very minimal settlement to 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 non-settlement, okay, of a certain structure. Okay, liquids is also affected by temperature. That is, the viscosity of liquids decreases with increasing temperature. The effect of temperature for gases is quite opposite to that observed in liquids, right? So if we increase temperature in a certain liquid, the liquid becomes less viscous, okay? The liquid becomes less sticky, right? Hydrostatic behavior is one of the significant characteristic of liquid in civil engineering. This is the concept of the pressure being dependent on the density of the substance under consideration, especially the depth of the liquid. From the formula, we see that pressure is dependent on density as well as the depth of the liquid. That is to say, as we increase the depth, there will be a corresponding increase of pressure, and it is actually in a linear fashion. All right, that concept is evidence in this image, wherein the water jet found or situated or located at the bottommost of this jar exhibit farther distance, okay, as compared to the two water jets found on top of this bottommost water jet, right? Now we discuss the properties of pressure in a liquid. First is the just discussed characteristic, that is, pressure increases with depth. Pressure can be computed from the formula P equal to rho GH, meaning the deeper we go, there will be a greater or higher pressure. Also, one of the properties of pressure in a liquid is that the pressure of liquid at the same elevation, at the same depth, will be equal, right? as long as the elevation of a liquid is the same, regardless of the shape wherein the liquid is contained, the pressure will be the same. Also, pressure acts in all direction. Hence, from this property, we can see that this will have a consequence that the pressure will be acting normal or perpendicular to whatever surface the liquid will be in contact with. All right? So this is Pascal's law. So this is what we're referring to, that the pressure acts perpendicular to whatever surface it will be in contact to. As I stated a while ago, pressure depends on density. Of course, if we're dealing with a higher density substance, just like that of a mercury, which is 13.6 heavier than water, we will compute a greater pressure. Okay? Let's say we have a two liquid, mercury and water, with the same elevation. We will compute a greater pressure in mercury for the reason that it is much heavier. Take note that pressure in the formula is a function of density as well as depth. Also, liquid is independent of the container it will be contained with, or the shape of the container it will be contained with. Why? Because pressure depends on depth and density. The shape of the container or vessel it is contained in is irrelevant. Also, this is another property of liquid, that is, liquid surface is always horizontal. It is always horizontal. Okay? So, in relation to this, I do not know how that in a globe model, water elevation is not horizontal but is in tangent to the, or in line or parallel to the shape of globe. Anyway, this is a fact that the free surface of a liquid is horizontal. Take note that we are considering here free surface. Okay. Another property of liquid is its pressure transmission. Okay? That if we apply a certain pressure on the other side, this is in reference to the image shown. If we apply a pressure by means of a small force on the left side of the piston, it will be transmitted to the other piston. Okay? We do take note, class, that the pressure of the liquid in the same elevation is always equal. That is to say, P1 is equal to P2. Hence, from this relationship, it is possible that we can lift a very heavy object by inducing or applying a very small force, right? This is where the concept of hydraulic jack was adapted from the property of pressure transmission in a liquid. Of course, this is again one of Pascal's law. Now, let us talk about atmospheric pressure. Simply put, atmospheric pressure is the existing pressure in the atmosphere. As simple as that. Okay? From the figure, from the image, we see that there will be a higher atmospheric pressure in a lower elevation as compared to a higher elevation. Well, this is because of the concentration of water molecules, okay, in lower elevations. Take note that water molecules as well as air do have weight, okay? So this is similar to the concept of the pressure being dependent on the density as well as the depth of whatever substance is under consideration. In this case, air and water molecules or water droplets in or mixed in air, right? Right now, we are experiencing an atmospheric pressure of 101.325 kilopascal. Okay? It seems we do not feel it because we are already immune to it. In other units such as atmosphere, this is equal to 1 atmosphere. In PSI, this is equal to 14.69 or 14.7 pound per square inches. Okay? Well, absolute pressure is the summation of atmospheric and that of gauge pressure. So how about gauge pressure? Well, gauge pressure is a pressure other than atmospheric pressure. Meaning to say, as long as it is not atmospheric pressure, then that is a gauge pressure, be it positive or negative or a vacuum pressure. It is a gauge pressure. Now in here, we have figures depicting manometers. On the left, we have an open type manometer in which, as we see, one end is exposed to the atmosphere. Hence, it is called open manometer because one end of the manometer is exposed to the atmosphere. Hence, atmospheric pressure acts on the exposed substance. Okay? Whereas for differential manometers, as we see, neither end of the manometer is exposed to the atmosphere. By the way, these manometers are instrument used to determine pressure or difference in pressures, right? We also see different colors of substances in here, and these differing colors signify or depicts different substances, right? This is for the purpose of clarity to determine the difference in pressure, say between points A and points B, by means of determining or measuring the difference in elevation H, as we see. Okay? Now, barometer is another instrument used for measuring pressure, specifically atmospheric pressure. Okay, I have uploaded a short video presentation about the concept of barometer. Well, it is quite simple. That is, in a basin containing mercury, atmospheric pressure acts on the surface, and as a consequence, there will be rising of mercury going into or up the glass tube. Okay, we can compute the atmospheric pressure by determining the height of the mercury in this glass tube. That is by applying pressure equal to rho GH. Okay. Now let us talk about continuity equation. Continuity equation is expressed as A1 V1 equal to A2 V2. We do note that A1 or A times V, which is velocity, is actually the flow, okay, or the discharge, okay, in the unit cubic meter per seconds. So simply put, continuity equation is a conservation of mass, or we could say that whatever quantity comes in should be the same quantity that comes out. All right, so Q1 is equal to Q2. Discharge 1 or discharge input is equal to discharge output. Okay, Bernoulli's equation is an equation about the energy between points, say point 1 and point 2. What will be the energy present in points 1 and point 2? Okay, from the image shown in this system, if we are to consider the image shown as a system, there will be a pressure energy, kinetic energy by means of the velocity, as well as there will be a potential energy. However, in this case, in this scenario, there is no potential energy because points 1 and point 2 lies on the same elevation. But for instances wherein points 1 and 2 have discrepancy or difference in elevation, meaning to say they are not situated in the same elevation, there will be a potential energy. All right? So without losses, if we are not to include losses, the summation of energy at one point is equal to the summation of energy at the other point. So that is the essence of Bernoulli's equation. Okay. So now, here is an example for you to solve. Okay. You can take this as your assignment. So in example 1, we have a situation in which you are asked of the force in a dam. Okay. In example 2, you are asked of the average speed of blood traveling in arteries. And in example 3, you are asked of the velocity of water coming out of a barrel, wherein the elevation of water in a barrel is 0.80 meters. You can take the word spigot as a faucet for simplicity. Okay?